The first phase of the ban on the XL Bully breed of dog kicks in today, making it illegal to sell the animal in Ireland. The next phase of this takes effect on the 1st of February next year. And if you happen to be the owner of that breed, then it is important that you apply for an exemption to keep the dog until the end of its natural life. Des Groom runs Groom Vets in Kildare Town. Morning, Des.
Morning, Will. Pleasure to be here with you again.
We've talked in the past about how the ban would be constructed, and you had views certainly around a description of the animal to reflect how the breed might change, or indeed similar breeds might replace it. So just to clarify, what does the ban cover?
The ban is not a ban per se. It's an emotive term to call it a ban. What legally it is it's a level of additional controls of a type of dog that's already on the restricted list. So these are additional controls for a type of dog that's already on the list we have in legislation for many, many years.
So how specific is that breed?
They're very specific. Now, the description is very close to the description used in the UK, and which is successful enough in terms of its, we will say, being specific. So to tell you exactly what that dog is, it's a larger version of an American Bully. The American Bully are a breed of dog, and they're registered as a specific breed. These are a type or a variant of that breed that are bigger and hence are called XL, extra large. There's a few very specific things that everybody can understand. The first is the shape of their heads. So the length of their muzzle will be about 1/3 the length of the back of the head. So a normal dog's muzzle is long and narrow, and the nose and muzzle would be about 2/3 of the length of the head. In these breeds, the muzzle is shorter, the nose is shorter, it measures less than 1/3 of the shape of the head. And that's important because to have that shorter nose, the jaw then is correspondingly wider. And therein creates the danger because they have an incredibly strong, powerful bite and a big, strong shape of a head. So it's a bulldog type head with a very strong, wide jaw and a shorter muzzle. That's the first thing. That's what's called skull to muzzle ratio. That's the first thing. Second thing then would be their actual size. 50 centimetres and under is okay. 50.1 centimetres and upwards is classed as an XL Bully dog, XL Bully of this type, and will be subject to the additional restrictions. So size at the shoulder, 50 centimetres. That's the second thing. And then the third thing then is the conformation. That's a straight hind leg and a straight shoulder, a very wide chest, a short, fine hair coat consistent with the Bully type, and the body weight will be extremely powerful with a large muscle mass. So there's the three areas: the body size and shape, the muzzle and head length, and the height of the shoulder.
So as of today, it is illegal to import, breed or resell any of those animals. If you already have one, you have another 4 months to the 1st of February next year to apply for a certificate of exemption. And what's involved in that process, Des?
The certificate exemption is from the local authority. That's the veterinary office attached to the county council. And you apply to them, and you have to bring them in a letter from your vet to say that your dog is of a certain type, to say that your dog is castrated, neutered, and to say that your dog is microchipped, proof of ID from yourself, a dog license, the microchip certificate, and the certificate from the vet. And then you get the exemption, and your dog can live out its natural days as hopefully a good family pet for yourself.
Now, I was reading last week how particularly Sweden seemed to be a country where many owners were exporting their animals. I'm wondering why they would feel the need to do that if the exemption is an option.
Apparently, a lot of owners of these breeds perhaps have maybe misunderstood the legislation, that they're frightened by the legislation, or they're frightened by the attention that having a dog of this type might result in for themselves, and that there has been a spate of surrenderings of these types of dogs into the animal charities. So the animal charities say that they've always had a lot of them because they've been a problematic breed for people to keep. So lots and lots of times people get one and they can't manage it, it doesn't suit, and they surrender it. And that's the reality of it is that they're going to be a difficult pet for people to have from the word go. So there's always been a large number of these dogs surrendered, but lately there's been lots of them surrendered because of the fear of and the inconvenience of the new legislations coming in.
A lot of different opinions have been shared over recent months since the tragic death of 23-year-old Nicole Morey, and that incident was really the catalyst for this clampdown. And even today I was reading her sister in one of the newspapers feeling that the ban doesn't go far enough. But equally, the DSPCA in Dublin feels this isn't going to address the fundamental issue of dog attacks. And to that extent, I suppose, how do we prevent not necessarily the XL bully, but the American bulldog, or even a particularly aggressive collie or some other dog capable of doing damage? How do we develop the culture where that is less of a risk?
There was promised introduction of more dog wardens, so that would help the policing and the enforcing of the existing legislation as well as the new legislation. So more help for the police and more dog wardens, and therefore just more enforcing of the legislation, a greater presence of dog wardens around the town, stopping people and asking people, do you have a dog licence? Do you have a muzzle for your dog? Please put the muzzle on the dog. That sort of enforcement is what's necessary, because you'll see these dogs out for walks, not just XL bullies, but all of the dogs on the restricted breed list, and maybe they're being walked by a young teenager who isn't going to have much control if the dog tries to run across the road. So, and the second factor is an awful lot of people don't even muzzle train. They'll have a German Shepherd or a Belgian Malinois or a Rottweiler or a Rhodesian Ridgeback and various breeds like this, and they don't even realise that they're supposed to have a muzzle on this dog, and the dog isn't muzzle trained, so that he accepts the muzzle and so that the muzzle becomes something that he gets used to.
So that's the challenge for policymakers, really, isn't it? It's not just about changing the restrictions. Okay, the threat of fine of €2,500 is pretty compelling, as is up to 3 months in prison. But if people feel they're not going to get caught because there aren't enough dog wardens to enforce, then it's a futile exercise.
So lots of laws around animal control and a lot of the problems we have with public order issues and health and safety issues are down to lack of enforcement. And the guards will say they need more resources. So this is part of that issue of Garda resourcing, I feel, as well as animal control and as well as animal owner education. But you see, there's a certain cohort out there that education and legislation won't work, and in enforcement and a presence of dog wardens is going to be what's required. And fingers crossed, hopefully that level of additional funding into enforcement will follow.
It seems we have funds for just about everything these days. We're going to have a massive giveaway budget, and let's not even talk about funds already committed that have been wasted. So it's something local authorities will have to look at. Des, grateful for your time and your insights. Thank you.